I didn't sleep that night. Not after he spoke. Not after his voice settled into my mind like it belonged there. I tried. Those two words replayed over and over, long after he disappeared back into whatever shadows he came from. I lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, my body tense, waiting for him to return. Part of me hoped he would. That was the first truth I didn't want to admit. Morning came slowly. Pale light spilled through the window, and everything looked normal again. Ordinary. But I knew better now. Because normal didn't leave fingerprints on glass. Normal didn't whisper in the dark. I moved through my apartment carefully, aware of every corner, every reflection. My skin tingled with the constant feeling of being watched. Then I saw it. On the kitchen counter. A folded piece of paper. My breath caught as I stepped closer. I hadn't left it there. I was sure of it. My fingers hesitated before opening it. 3 words, written in clean, precise handwriting. I'm still here. I should have been terrified. I should have packed my things, left the apartment, changed cities, disappeared somewhere he couldn't find me. But I didn't. Because deep down I already knew the truth. He would find me anywhere. That realization should have broken me. Instead it anchored me. The entire day I felt him. Not physically, not visibly, but undeniably present. Like a second heartbeat just beneath my skin. At work, I caught myself glancing at the door, wondering if he would walk through it. Wondering what he looked like without the mask. Wondering why he chose me. When my shift ended, I stepped outside into the cool evening air and paused. He was there. Across the street. Exactly where he'd always been. The white mask reflected the streetlights, glowing faintly in the darkness. He didn't move when I saw him. Didn't hide. He never hid anymore. Slowly, my fear began to twist into something else. Something quieter. Something more dangerous. Familiarity. The change happened 3 nights later. I woke up suddenly, my heart racing. At first I didn't know why. The room was dark, silent. Then I realized. My bedroom door was open. I never slept with it open. My throat tightened as I pushed myself up slowly, my eyes fixed on the empty doorway. He wasn't visible, but he was there. I could feel him. The air felt different, charged, alive. My voice came out softer than I expected. You don't have to hide. The words hung in the darkness. For a moment nothing happened. Then, from somewhere inside the room, a shadow shifted. He stepped forward slowly, emerging from the corner like he'd always been part of it. The white mask found me instantly. Watching. Waiting. But this time he didn't stop at the edge of the room. This time he walked toward my bed. My breath caught as he moved closer. Every step was slow, controlled, like he knew rushing would break something fragile between us. The floor didn't creak beneath him. The air barely shifted. He moved like he belonged to the dark itself. I should have been screaming, calling the police, running, fighting. But I didn't move. I couldn't. Because this was the moment every part of me had been waiting for. He stopped beside my bed. Close enough that I could see the faint rise and fall of his chest. Close enough that if I reached out, my fingers would touch him. You came back, I whispered. The words felt dangerous, intimate. He didn't answer. His head tilted slightly, studying me in that quiet, consuming way. Like he was memorizing me all over again. Slowly, carefully, he sat on the edge of my bed. The mattress dipped beneath his weight. My heart slammed against my ribs. He wasn't hiding anymore. His hand lifted, moving toward my face. Every instinct told me to pull away. I didn't. His gloved fingers hovered near my cheek, hesitating for just a second, like he was asking without asking. Then he touched me. Careful, reverent. A shiver ran through me, sharp and uncontrollable. His touch wasn't cold like I expected. It was warm, steady, real. You shouldn't be here, I said quietly. But my body betrayed me. I leaned into his hand without meaning to. His thumb brushed lightly along my jaw. Possessive. You let me in, he said. His voice was calm, certain, not accusing, truthful. And he was right. I had never stopped him. Not really. The next morning I woke up alone. For a split second I thought I'd imagined everything. That exhaustion and fear had created something that didn't exist. Then I saw it. My bedroom door was closed. I never closed it when I slept. My stomach tightened as I sat up slowly, scanning the room. Everything looked the same. Except for one thing. On my nightstand sat a small black object. Phone. Not mine. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. The screen was already on. One contact. No name. Just a single message waiting. Call me. My pulse quickened. He hadn't just been watching me anymore. He was giving me a way to reach him. Which meant one thing. He wasn't planning to disappear. I stared at the phone for a long time. It felt heavier than it should have. Like it carried more than plastic and glass. Like it carried him. Call me. He wasn't asking. He knew I would. My thumb hovered over the screen. My heart pounded so hard it made my hand shake. Every logical thought told me not to do it. Throw it away. To break it. To pretend none of this was real. But logic had stopped protecting me the moment he entered my apartment for the first time. Slowly, before I could stop myself, I pressed the contact. The phone rang once. Hello. My breath caught instantly. His voice was deeper through the phone. Closer. More intimate. Like he was standing right behind me again. Neither of us spoke for a moment. He let me listen to him breathing. Waiting. He always waited. Why me? Asked finally. The question had lived inside me for weeks. Growing. Burning. He didn't answer right away. I heard fabric shift on his end. Movement. He was somewhere quiet. Look outside, he said calmly. My chest tightened. I was already moving before I realized it. Crossing the room. Stepping toward the window with slow, careful steps. My fingers parted the curtain. And there he was. Standing across the street. Phone held to his ear. White mask facing directly toward me. Watching me as I watched him. You see me, he said softly. It wasn't a question. My throat went dry. Yes. I've always seen you. Something changed after that. He stopped being just a shadow. He became part of my life. He called at night. Never during the day. Never when anyone else could hear. We didn't always talk. Sometimes he just stayed on the line while I breathed. Listening. Existing with me. Watching without watching. I was there the first day you moved in, he told me once. Chill ran through me. I saw you drop your keys. I remembered that. I'd laughed nervously, embarrassed. Alone in the empty hallway. Except I hadn't been alone. You looked like you didn't belong to anyone, he continued. His voice lowered. I fixed that. My heart skipped. I should have been afraid of what that meant. Instead, understood. He wasn't hiding from me anymore. He was hiding for me. I started depending on his voice. That was the first thing I refused to admit to myself. Every night I waited for the phone to light up. Every night I told myself I wouldn't answer. And every night, the moment his name, or the absence of one, appeared on the screen, I picked up before it could ring twice. You're safe, he would say sometimes. Not hello. Not my name. Just that. You're safe. And somehow I believed him. More than I believed the locks on my door. More than I believed the walls around me. 'Cause he was always there. Watching. Making sure nothing else could reach me first. One evening everything changed. I was walking home later than usual. The streets were quieter, darker. My footsteps echoed too loudly against the pavement, making my skin prickle with unease. That's when I heard it. Footsteps behind me. Not his. Wrong rhythm. Wrong presence. Faster. Closer. My heart began to race as I kept walking, pretending not to notice. Pretending I wasn't afraid. The footsteps sped up. A hand reached for me. And suddenly stopped. There was a sound. Sharp movement. Quiet, violent interruption of space. I turned instinctively. The man behind me was gone. vanished, like he'd never been there. But across the street, he was, the white mask, standing perfectly still, watching, protecting, claiming. That night he didn't call. He came. I felt him before I saw him. The shift in the air. The familiar weight of his presence filling my apartment. My body reacted instantly, heart racing, breath shallow. "You followed me," I whispered into the darkness. He stepped forward slowly. "I follow everything that gets too close to you," he replied. My chest tightened. Not jealousy, ownership. He stopped in front of me, closer than he'd ever been without the mask between us and the world outside. "You were scared," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. I swallowed. "Yes." His hand lifted, brushing lightly against my wrist. "Steady. Certain." "I won't let anyone touch you," he said. Then softer. "Only me." And for the first time, I didn't want him to hide anymore. He started staying longer after that. Not always visible. Not always close enough to touch. But present. Sometimes I would wake in the middle of the night and feel him somewhere in the room. Sitting, standing, watching, making sure I was still there. Making sure I was still his. I stopped asking how he got inside. I stopped asking how long he stayed. Because part of me already knew the answer. As long as he wanted. One night, I found him standing at my window, looking out at the city below. His back faced me. His shoulders still beneath the black fabric. He didn't turn when I sat up. "I knew you'd wake up," he said quietly. Chill ran through me. "How?" He tilted his head slightly. "You always do." Like he'd seen it happen 100 times. Like he'd been there every time. I stood slowly, my bare feet silent against the floor. "You watch me sleep," I said. It wasn't an accusation. It was acceptance. He turned then, the white mask finding me instantly. Yes. No hesitation. No apology. Just truth. My heart pounded as I stepped closer. Each step felt irreversible. Like crossing a line I could never step back over. "Why?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. His gloved hand lifted, resting lightly against my waist. Not forcing. Holding. "Because you're mine," he said. The words should have terrified me. Instead they settled deep inside my chest. Heavy. Permanent. The change became undeniable after that. He wasn't just watching anymore. He was controlling things around me. Small things at first. One morning, I found my door already locked when I reached for it. Another night, my window was closed after I was sure I'd left it open. He was there even when I didn't see him. Always adjusting. Always protecting. Always deciding. And the most terrifying part, I was starting to rely on it. Starting to trust that he would always be there. Until one night he did something different. Something he'd never done before. He reached up and slowly removed his mask. But he didn't let me see his face. His hand covered my eyes before I could look. "Not yet," he whispered. And in that moment I realized the truth. He wasn't hiding because he was afraid of me. He was hiding because once I saw him, everything would change.